Hello, everyone, and welcome to another weekly stream. I'm your host, Ronan and Shane, and we are going to be talking spoilers for episode 2 has been out. There's a lot to discuss of the new information we've gotten, and as last week's episode showed, I got some friends to dive into this. I'm going to bring in first Taladia Place and Darren. Muchachos, how y'all doing?
It's Peacemaker, guys.
Peacemaker.
It's fucking Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Folks, as always, when we do most of these streams, we're going to be talking spoilers. So if you've not seen the most recent episode, please go back, watch the episode, and then come back and hang out with us because new characters are introduced, new what's the word? New goals are set, and Eagle gets to shine in this one for better or for worse. So spoilers ahead. Enjoy. All right. The episode's out. I've been very interested to see how people take away Rick Flag's perspective on this season. What we get out of where Economos is at right now, where he starts to surveillance on Chris, but he's low to him. Boys, you've seen the episode. I want to hear y'all thoughts about it. Let's start with Taladia. Taladia, how did you feel about episode 2 of Peacemaker season 2?
Honestly, it was probably one of the better episodes. I gotta say, it was better than episode 1 in my experience.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I didn't jump into season 1, but season 2, like this episode was like really well done, and I gotta say, Eagly just stole the show for me. Straight off, like Eagly was like, he was doing an like taking the people out, and I was just like, are they really doing that? Are they really?
They gave him a little fucking little moment to dance his way out of a fucking like massacre between the fucking
Yeah.
the squad of Tim Meadows characters and whatnot. But yeah, I could see that. So he was your favorite part of this episode?
He was my favorite. Like, that was my favorite part segment of the episode. I mean, there was another part I really enjoyed as well, which was I did enjoy seeing Chris's character progress from episode 1, and also was like, oh, should I go to this like, because he was drunk, like as you saw, and I was just like, okay, he's gonna go there, he's gonna he's gonna experience the other world at some point, right? So, and I'm just like, okay, this is progressing, and I can't wait to see episode 3. But I can't believe it. I saw the post credit, and I was just like, he got the new guy that came in, he called it Pokimane, and I was just like, oh, Pokemon, and I'm just like, no, that's not how to say it. It's called Pokemon. Get it right. Yeah, and the guy called it, but he called it a bird, and when they call it eagly, it's an eagle, and I'm just like,
yeah, that stick with the birds thing. That's something else that I think we'll discuss later on because I have thoughts on that. But thank you for that, Claudia. Darren, you've seen season 1 of it. We're 2 episodes in, 2 weeks into this new season. How are you feeling thus far?
You're muted.
I see that now.
There you go.
No, I mean, I think the Eagly thing was very interesting. As someone who's a fan of chickens and I'm always down for more chicken representation in media, I thought this episode was no, I was kidding. No, I liked this one a lot. Did I love it? I did not. I didn't love it as much as I think a lot of people have. Actually might be one of my least favorite episodes of Peacemaker up until this point. Not that it's bad, and I'm excited to kind of break down a little bit of why some of it didn't exactly sit well with me. But I think the heart of the season is what keeps pulling me back in week after week, because the heart of the show and what we're doing with Chris and what we're doing with Hardcore and what we're doing with our main characters here is something very, very beautiful. And I'm really excited to see how we continuously tell this story throughout this next season.
I gotta ask Darren this, right?
Mhm.
What did you feel about the fact that there was a promotion for beds, bed sighting or something like that?
You know what? Let's just say that up front, that I think the humor in this episode was about 50-50 for me, because I do think Tim Meadows is one of the funniest actively working actors on the planet right now. I think he's fucking incredible. And maybe it's too early to curse, I'm sorry. But like, he had me dying the entire episode. But sometimes, and this is something I think James Gunn sometimes struggles with a little bit, is about kind of where you're placing those jokes. And sometimes this week, personally, I felt like sometimes it feels a little bit too much like a stand-up sketch, where it's like, okay, we're going to tell these really good bits, and they are really good bits and very good actors doing it, but sometimes it, to me, takes away from the overall narrative and the overall scene, where we will have a very deep emotional scene, and they'll be like, hey, let's make a Muppet joke, and it's like, oh, all right, okay. So stuff like that I feel like was interesting. But again, like the bird meme, like I've been making jokes on that, like on Twitter all day. Like, it's so funny, and like I want to like it more than I actively am. And I'm curious to see where a character goes going forward, because he is an interesting character, and I'm not sure what we're going to do with him.
Agreed.
Yeah, I am really, man, it's weird because, okay, so let's get to Tim Meadows' character. He gets introduced, and I was like, all right, he's charming as hell, and he's a great actor and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then he goes about the whole, ginger beard and all this shit. He's like, no, I fucking mind that. With John going back, like, dude, don't call me that. And the whole bit of like, yeah, I'm blind, I'm bird blind. He's like, what? He's like, you can't tell that's an eagle. That's a symbol of America. He's like, it looks like fucking
like
damn, it's a fucking duck or whatever he said. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Is that a parrot? Yeah.
And then even the same thing, like, who's the nerd? Oh, like, that motherfucker must have got all the Pokemans. And I was like, all right, I like this shit. But I'm like, it's one of the things where I'm like, oh, please don't drag this throughout the next 6 weeks, please.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to do this in one-off? Sure. But like, I was just like, it's the fear of like, oh no, we're gonna feel this for the next 6 weeks.
It definitely felt like a sitcom. Like, like him as an actor, like, I love him from like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He is so good in that show. But like, it is a different kind of show. And again, like, I think again, like the show is good when it uses this comedy correctly. And I'm not saying they used it incorrectly, but yeah, like, I do think you have to be smart about where you place it, how you do it, or you will kind of undercut the value of your scene a little bit. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and like, again, that's charming here and there, but like you said, I think the word just like, don't undercut it, because you have enough drama already. You have enough drama between 3 different like angles, between what Chris is going through, what Emilia's going through, and what John, the conundrum he's at right now.
Yeah.
And I want to go and start with like saying that, like, seeing this opening, Rick Flag Senior taking charge of Argus, and knowing that he didn't have the files available of like what actually happened to his son, is almost heartbreaking now, to think that all this time he didn't know what went down, and he finds out, and Sasha Bordeaux just like, he's like, I want Smith now on surveillance 24/7, the whole shebang. But she's like, but sir, he did good by us, a Project Starfish, Butterfly, or whatever it was called. Like, he did good by us. He's like, fuck that. And just started marching his way and be like, there's a new wave now of just like, fuck that guy, whatever he did. I like the consistency there. I like the consistency, and I completely understand where he's coming from. It's just that I wonder how if they interact, which we've seen in featurettes and stuff, like they're probably gonna like come face to face. It's like, how the fuck is that gonna go?
Yeah.
But again, starting off with a flashback look of where we're going with this season. How do you guys feel about Rick Flag Sr. part of this show as of now,
Mhm.
and where his part in this story is at?
You mind if I go first, Darren?
Go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
I personally think that I feel bad for him because he doesn't get to see his son, but I have an inkling feeling that he'll go to that parallel world, right?
Mhm.
And he'll see his son there, and then he'll bring his son from that universe into this universe, right?
Interesting.
That is something I'm thinking about because, as we all know, there is the pocket dimension thing, and he's trying to say he's gonna do something major with John Cena, Chris Smith, right, and Amelia Harcourt and all of that, and he's got a very he wants to go the full shebang. He wants to take Chris Smith to the ends of the earth, right, and say, look, you did this. I'm gonna get payback. Payback's a bitch. Now you're gonna regret what you've done to my son.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call all my team on you, no matter what
Yeah.
it is, and 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 at the end of the day, what I get, when I get my revenge would be best served. Sorry, revenge is best served cold. I
Yeah.
can't remember the pronunciation, but
Nope.
you
That's
know
it.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
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 So, but that's what I really think about Rick Flag Senior when it comes down to his journey.
I get that. What about you, Darren?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's we haven't had enough yet to say for certain like how I'm feeling about it. Like it could go either way so far. Seems like next week is going to be a much bigger focus on Rick Flag and stuff like that. So I'll be waiting to kind of see what we're gonna do with him. But yeah, like so far I think it's a very good setup for a season. I think, I think both having Chris and Rick Flag kind of dealing with very similar things right now. They're both grieving in very, very different ways, and they're both trying to mask how they feel with their vices, and both vices are dangerous to them in various ways. And I'm excited to see how that collides. I definitely agree with Taladia, and I think I said that last week as well, where I think we're definitely seeing uh, Rick Flag Jr. in the other world. I've even heard some theories going around that like that's the ex, like that's um, her ex in the other world that they talked about in episode 1, and being like, oh, is that how they kind of tie things in? And that will make things very awkward for Chris if that's the case, where it's like, oh, the man I killed is with the woman I love. Uh-oh, how do I deal with this?
The
So
conundrum.
that, yeah, very CW-ish, but I think that could be cool if written well enough. But yeah, we'll see. I'm a little concerned about the qualification of our Argus agents right now, though. If like 5 of them were outwitted by an eagle.
That's the thing where like I'm like, okay, I have to really like just go with this. That this is just a one off. Hopefully, just a one off of time of like, all right, Eagle is gonna get shine on, and he's getting the bumbling
Yeah.
idiots to just smack or poke in his fact and whatnot. Yeah, with flag, it's just that you see how much there's weight on his shoulders, and yet he's very like centered of just like, I just want proof. I just give me a reason to like crack down on Smith fully, and then I'll have my kick you needed to. Again, I feel for him, but I'm also I've been with Chris for a whole season television, so I understand where Chris is coming from. But and I think about how much. I can't imagine how many times Chris thinks about what went down in Corto Maltese and how much
Yeah.
he did what he did, but from the get-go, I knew he didn't want to do it. I knew that he had a lot of respect for Rick, And even when it came to Rat Catcher 2, he didn't want to take her down and whatnot. And I think people, James always said that he goes back to that moment where he's about to kill Rat Catcher 2, and he saw what Cena was doing acting wise. He's like, that's why I want to do a series with him as that character, because there's more to it than just pulling the trigger. So I'm very eager to see how if a conversation goes down, how the conversation is going to go down between them two.
That's something interesting that you kind of brought up that I hadn't really thought of, is like we've spent a whole season with Chris. We've technically also spent a whole season with Rick Flag as well. So we almost have this like Civil War moment, pick a side, which protagonist do you enjoy watching more? And to be fair, we've spent more time with Chris, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Creature Commandos is more of an ensemble and it's a lot shorter than Peacemaker is. But it's still kind of cool the way that they've kind of done this, where it's like, okay, so introduce this one here, and now they get to cross paths here, and with everything that they're doing, and it is going to be fascinating to see if we can almost side with Rick Flag by the end and be like, you know what, maybe you should do this, Rick Flag, or something like that would be interesting.
If they can get us to do that, power move to do that for a character that some people, not a lot of people, but some people have followed for a season already. And again, it'll be very interesting to see that perspective between us three, because a lot hasn't seen season 1. We both seen season 1, and we have probably all different points of views of where Chris should end up at by the time that this story ends. That should be a hell of a water cooler talk. Something else that I want to spend time with, because I found the scene to be so realistic, and the whole time I was just like pulling my hair, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for both sides in this moment. And that's when Emilia, she recuperates from the beatdowns she had at the bar, and she goes to this place to get medicine, and this poor lady is offering her sympathy because she thinks she's being abused.
Yeah.
And Samantha, what she was telling her was, she has a point to tell her, but it's just like, it's not that kind of a relationship. That's more of a self thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Emilia was doing her best to like, no, I'm good. I appreciate it, but no, I'm good. But the lady kept insisting. She's like, listen, I'm not a fucking mirror. And just let out on the poor lady who was trying to offer help. I'm glad this scene, like, again, it ends with it. You got a good view, Peaker, whatever he called, whatever she called it, dude, the Muppet. Which I'm like, that's fine and all, and that's almost like as an insult, not just as a jokey bit. But I love that this scene exists. I love that this scene wasn't cut down when it felt realistic. And I've never been in this situation, but I can only imagine how people feel on both sides of the situation. What do you guys feel about where Emily's at right now? Because she's also looking for a job. She looked at the help wanted sign, and you're like, fuck, man, she can't do.
Am I there?
She has no breaks. Yeah.
I love that scene a lot. Went from just an audience member, that's one of those cringe moments, like not in the it's bad way, but it's like, oh no, kind of thing. But like, I really love that scene because what she's saying to her is still advice that she should take into herself, where it's like, okay, sometimes we don't know when to speak up, or like how to speak up, or like if you're in trouble, there's places you can go. All those things can still apply to her current situation, even though it is self-harm. Though there are still outlets, and that is still like those things still apply to her, but she shuts it down immediately. Like, no, that's not me. That's not who I am. I am, like, don't even, like, don't equate that to me. And that does just go to her overall thing of, like, she has to feel tough all the time. She has to have this persona all the time. And we see that even more in the back half of the episode. And I do really like the difference between her here and then her at the end of the episode around Everyday Joe. She doesn't mind people seeing this because she wants them to think they're tough, to think she's strong, to maybe she's even like maybe somewhat looking for those questions to be like, yo, what's wrong? What happened to you? Like some of that stuff, because that's kind of what her headspace is. And then when she goes to the party later, she's like putting makeup on. She's trying to hide it. She doesn't want them to really see it or ask questions about it. So it is very interesting. And again, I'm so, again, like where we end the episode, I'm so curious to see like the other side of it. What's that one like? Where we're taking her, and how does she relate, or like how does she feel once she finds out what Chris is doing and why he's doing it? Is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
What about
I
you,
agree.
Claudia?
I think it's very interesting of how she's healing, and I agree with Darren on all the points he said. But I also think what is going to be the like, where does she end up at the end goal? Is she the end goal is going to be really interesting. Is she going to be with Chris? Is she is she going to be like, oh well, we're just going to be friends, or is she going to be like, oh well, this other reality of me is really into it, and do I have to do that on my earth? So, oh, sorry, my universe, I should say. Um, so that's the big question there. But her, her from her healing, it's gonna take time. I don't, I don't, I don't know how long like it takes between episode 2 to episode 8, like in terms of weeks or months. I don't know how long that would be, um, but we will see though. I think when it comes down to her healing, and I wonder though, do we get to see Amanda Waller, and will she?
Mm,
Ooh, I want to see
Is,
that conversation go down between
yeah.
Chameleon and Waller.
yeah, I really want to see that as well because I really want to see what Amelia Hardcore would have to say to um, Amanda Waller, and I'm like, you did this, put the point the fingers, point the finger situation, and I also want to see what Amanda Waller would have to be in response to Amelia Harcourt's downfall. So
Yeah, yeah. It's man, and here's the thing I appreciate about this episode is that like I love that this isn't being brushed off and moved on that quick. Like it feels like we're giving her the time to just spend in this and
mm,
really feel her side of it. And I love that. I mean, I think James had teased it from the get go that like season one was about Leota and Chris's friendship. This is about Chris and Amelia's friendship, and where's that's at, and where can if it can be more or just that or just professional, um, and how much of that comes with the personal life and both the professional life. And speaking about personal, um, 2 episodes in, I do kind of feel that Vigilante is, the backseat driver right now. Like he's in the backseat of a
Mhm.
lot of this stuff. But man, oh man, I'm not gonna show the full details of what they're doing when they meet up again. But like I said, they're having a one of a kind, unique bonding moment, and
Mhm.
it was almost like effing weird to see this. And I love this freak out of Chris. I'll be like, fuck off to the alien, which is like, I've been saying hi to the motherfucker for time now, and he never says hi back. Um, but at the beginning of the episode, Chris is trying to hide the body of his doppelganger, and but now he's like, all right, we gotta get rid of it, and he decides to. I call it a Rick and Morty scenario of just like, all right, you're just gonna get rid of the body and just go about it, and it's again,
Mm.
fucking Vid is just all about it. He's like, yay, bonding time. It was chaotic with the music and just
Yeah.
weird. How do you guys feel about the repercussion now of Chris being like, yo, you fucked up. Now, you're not only just messing stuff up in your reality, you messed up somebody else's reality and how that's going to
Yeah.
feel with everybody around them.
yeah,
Seeing this, do you think the family, do you think the boys are going to take it well, or, is there, I don't know how everybody else is going to feel it, but yeah, it felt very Rick and Morty.
Very. Yeah.
yeah, it felt very Rick and Morty for sure. Um, but man, that dancing was off.
The dancing song. Um, yeah, it's weird. Like I said initially, he does. Vigilante does have like a backseat vibe to him this season thus
Mhm.
far,
Mm,
and I don't know how worried I should be about that.
Yeah.
I really don't know how worried I'm supposed to be about that.
I'm gonna wait and see, because they've mentioned it a couple times in trailers and in this week's episode where it's like, I wonder what my doppelganger is like. I wonder what my version of that is. And that's what I'm kind of waiting for, because I know in season one of the main criticisms from like mainly the comic book community was like, well, that's not Peacemaker. That's not the version of the character I know. And I think they have a very cool opportunity here to maybe introduce the version of the character that people know, and like introduce that version of him, or a version that's slightly closer to that. And
The comics where he's more
Yeah.
like what's the word? He's very more down and like gritty, and it's not about like, yeah, we're gonna hang time, give me owl, trivia and shit. And it's just like, no,
Right.
I was a lawyer, I think, at one point,
yeah,
and lost it all, and now I'm
a
just
lot
going.
darker of a character,
Yeah,
and really please that side of the fandom, and then you kind of create a reason of why you made this version of the character. I think you spread it into the narrative a little bit. But I agree, so far it's been, out of all the character, he's just there, he's hanging out. I thought his jealousy stuff this week was kind of fun. I think spreads like kind of closer to like but like what Chris is going through, where it's just like, dude, I was depressed, I wasn't trying to hang out with friends. There's like a potential hint at maybe some asexuality stuff with him as well this week, where it's just like, I don't do it for that, I just do it because to hang out with my friends and the the bonding. I was like, that's pretty close to what that is for a lot of people. So like that, the show's been very good about their queer representation so far, so that'd be very cool if they can kind of bring that into it a little bit with him. But I'm kind of waiting. Like, I did love the scene when like he's like super sad and emotional while he's doing it. He's like, "Oh, this is so much fun. We're bonding." It's like, all right,
yeah.
dude.
The most fucked up way possible you can do that about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it up now. It's part of a great transition, but fucking Vigilante. We spend a little quick time with Leota in her personal life and how she's very much almost like in denial of what's gone down.
Mhm.
She's like, "Hey, I'm just doing my thing. Gotta go where I'm going." And they dropped a Gotham mention, and I went,
Mhm.
"What?"
Like,
I'm like,
yeah,
That
like
scene made me laugh.
Commandos. Yeah, Commandos. We spend time for a hot second in
Mhm.
Gotham when we're introducing
Mhm.
Dr. Phosphorus. There's a little sign on Superman's freeway of like, Gotham, take left lane or whatever.
Mhm.
Now of like, what was Leota supposed to do back in Gotham? Leota, listen, it's funny with Leota's side. I do feel for her because I'm like, I don't know if you realize what's gone down, how much this is impacting your life now. Like, you lost the love of your life of season one that we knew, and she's almost been like either in denial or acceptance in a very odd way. But again, like I said, we did get a mention of Gotham. How do we feel about this connection with the rest of DCU and how Leota's side is
Mhm.
hanging about in season two thus far?
I personally think it's very interesting, but I also see why they would, why they would mention Gotham hype. Sorry, Gotham mention. Sorry, because there's a hype there because they know that it's Batman's hometown
Mhm.
and the Bat family and all of that. So there's a hype around
Yeah.
Gotham City anyway, and
Yeah.
with like you got to remember, Clayface is literally coming out next year as well.
Next
So
year, yeah.
them putting these sprinkle things in Peacemaker,
Mhm.
it's actually making, and Creature Commandos and Superman, it's
Mhm.
all leading up to the big thing for Batman's next appearance in a DC cinematic universe, right? Um, but I also think it's really cool though. We got to see like we got to hear the mention of it. It makes me think: are we gonna have like her interacting with Sasha? I can't pronounce her name.
Bordeaux. Yeah.
Yeah, but is she gonna have an interaction with her?
It's weird how much connection is there already with that city, even though we don't know that much about it. Like, I know
Yeah.
today people saw photos of the official look of the GCPD logo from the DC universe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sasha Bordeaux may or may not have had some connection with Wayne or Batman at that point. It's fascinating how much
Mhm.
where we have threads leading to it, but we
Yeah.
haven't. They're really playing the cards close to the chest.
Also, Also, White Rabbit, right? In the first episode is also a
Yeah.
Batman villain.
A Batman
So,
villain. Like, it's
Yeah.
interesting how much of that shit like they're leading into it. I'm like, but are they gonna really show Batman, or like might they even throw a curveball and be like, oh,
Yeah.
here's Dick Grayson, or here's Nightwing, or here's Batgirl, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
yo, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
It-
Like,
it-
oh
it-
yeah, the old man.
if they do that, I'll be like, what the actual
Mhm.
fuck?
I'll take
Like-
that over Batman. To be quite frank, I'm like, don't show us
Yeah.
Batman in this show. Keep mentioning him if you want, but if
Yeah.
you really want to make a big splash, show us Nightwing, show us Barbara Gordon, show us Dick
Yeah.
Grayson. Like throw that, because again, he said
Or-
that there is a Bat family.
Yeah.
Or you know what you could also do if you really want to. This is a show surrounding Argus. Argus has prisons. You could go down a hallway if you really want to be doing some setup stuff for next year. Maybe have like Clayface in like a prison cell, and then have Clayface be like a prequel to this movie or this series, or something like that. Just to kind of, oh look, you're gonna see him here. Just to give us like a look of what he might look like, and I don't know, something like that could be fun.
A breadcrumb type of thing.
I mean, they did mention
Yeah.
Arkham. They're saying that, like, listen, they're all over prisons around the world. Belle Reve, Arkham. There's have metahumans escape, and it's just like, what's happening out there? And it's just like,
Yeah.
Bruh,
I did laugh. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They're just taking this to the next level. I'm just saying it's.
and I'm
Like,
loving
it's
that
good.
right now. This part,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, leave the breadcrumbs, because that makes it sweeter. I think that's gonna make it sweeter.
The scene did make me laugh quite a bit because it is one of those things like, why would you go back to Gotham? Go to Metropolis? Go to
Of
Central
all the
City?
cities in DC universe, you want to go back to? You want to go back to
Gotham.
Gotham?
It reminded me of the scene from like Black Widow, as someone from Ohio, where like she's like, I don't want to leave Ohio. It's like, why not? Go somewhere else.
It reminds me of the CW episode of Supergirl, right? When one of the families said, "Why would you go back to Gotham?"
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it just reminds me of that.
Very
So
classic. Yeah.
yeah,
And again, it's weird timing. Keyblade mentioned Jeffrey says here that also Alan Richardson said he has had talks with James Gunn. He agree with Ronan, but Alan Richardson doesn't think he will be Batman now. He still has my vote to get or whatnot. I would love to see him as Batman. Ohio sucks. Damn, Jeffrey. Damn.
I
savagery.
don't disagree.
Yeah. Let's see. So we've gotten what Rick Flag is going through. Also, again, leading into it, it was very nice to see Joel Kinnaman back, even though there was stock footage of the Suicide Squad. I'm really broken down by that still. I'm like, what the fuck, James? Why the fuck did you go about doing all that? Even seeing Chris's face when Leota went to visit him, and he's like, man, I'm having a meltdown right now. Let me tell you how I feel about shit right now. And she sits him down and be like, yo, you have that quantum fucking portal thing in your fucking dad's room? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, don't be messing with that shit. Now you're looking for trouble.
Yeah.
I love that even he had that moment of just like, oh, fuck. When she said, look, Rick Flag Sr. is in charge of Argus. He's watching you, and he's been like, does he know? And he's like, yes, he knows what you did. And it's like, God damn it, man. I can't get away from this shit anymore. So I'm keen about that. You know what else? It was nice to see. It was really nice to see the crew hanging out on the rooftop, seeing them all there, happy and stuff. Whatnot. Like, I really dug that, and just seeing the bonding that they went through. And again, I said it when this started. I forgot how much I missed the 11th Street kids. I forgot how much fun I had with them that first season. How much they really bonded.
Yeah.
And I care for them. What did you guys feel about that rooftop scene? Because beyond them catching up with stuff, Adrian being like, "Did you guys come together?" I was like, "No, did we meet up in the stairwell? Well, that's how we got here."
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Emilia and Chris's talk? How do you guys feel about that scene overall?
I adore that scene. I think that's the best scene of the episode. Like everything with just our characters talking. It didn't feel like a streaming episode. It felt like something you would see on the CW or like Cloak and Dagger or like Agents of Shield, where you can have these episodes where it's just like, hey, we're not there yet. We're not in the meats and potato, but we need an episode to just relax, sit down, let's talk about how we're feeling, let's build these character dynamics out. And I know there's gonna be some people that are like, it's filler. It's like, no. I think these episodes are important. And it's why I love those CW shows so much, is because we get to just spend time with these characters. We get to live in their lives, and we get to just kind of breathe with them for a couple minutes. And it was so wholesome. And I had a smile on my face the whole scene, where I'm like, this is so unbelievably special. And it shows the heart of the show. And then the talk with, Hardcore, it broke my heart, because I know he's trying his best. He's trying his damnedest to reach her, and she wants to so badly. She wants to just break down and let that happen, but she can't do it. She is incapable at this moment of just letting herself be vulnerable. And the slight hints of it, she starts to crumble, and she's like, no, I have to get out of here. I have to go. Because she's either in that scene, one, going to go at him and just tear him apart. She doesn't want to do that, or she's going to be vulnerable, and she also can't do that. So I as frustrating as it is to be like, no, talk about your feelings, it's it's really well written TV, in my opinion.
Yeah, even with her jab of you think I'm as fucked up as you are. He's like, I never said that. I'm just checking in on you. That's all. I want to know if you're doing okay.
Yeah.
And you said it best there. You just sense it there. You sense what they're both trying not to. I mean, I think Chris is more open to it now, but how much she's doing her best not to hurt him, but be not give him any hope. Because I think, even how just Leota looking at everybody, I think it's funny. Leota and Viola just looking at everybody. She, again, like I said, she's the glue and keeping track of everything, making sure everything's okay. And it's just fascinating that you have that perspective going on, and how much she and John already have talked beforehand, and he's just like, yeah, nice seeing you for the first time. And again, I love the montage with the music, because they're all getting drunk, and fucking Adrian takes out all his clothing just being poured out with beer and shit. But how do you feel about it, Talaria? Because again, this is the first time you're almost meeting these characters.
Yeah,
there's baggage of 8 weeks of television that we know about them.
But for me, it's a very good bonding session, right? And you could see very well acting, by the way, for playing a drunk guys, but I think the person who had the most fun has to be what's his name, Vigilante. He had the most fun out of all of them. And but Amelia Harcourt and Chris Smith's dialogues were, like Darren said, it was she's trying to hold back. She doesn't want to break his heart, right? But at the same time, she's if she opens up to him, there's a whole cans of worms basically that can happen, right? And I'm just like Chris, man. I know how Chris feels, because when I've been in that same situation when you try to open up to someone and they're like, oh, I don't really feel like that, So I know how Chris feels when it comes down to that dynamic. But I also gotta say as well, the glue of the family, I should say, the glue of the kids was that's interesting. And I wonder though, I do wonder, is she gonna be the one to be you gotta come back?
Yeah,
you have to come back, Chris. I understand Amelia Harcourt's she knows about Chris, but it's the glue of the family, the glue of the kids. She's gonna be the one that has to bring him back. No questions. Now, I wouldn't say Amelia, but I would say I forgot to pronounce her name now.
Leona,
yeah, that's
Leona Adebayo.
Yeah, Leona Adebayo, right? She'd be the one that would have to literally persuade. Well, Amelia would be the person to persuade, but Leona would be the one to kind of say, "Look, we've got this."
Charge.
Yeah,
let's go get him. We gotta stop him from doing this again.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
I also think like this episode, I think probably teases where I think the season might ultimately end, right? Because I think I think a lot of like every character this season is kind of aimlessly in their career or lack
Mm,
thereof, right?
mm.
Like Chris has been rejected by this kind of future career path that he wanted to go in. Hardcore can't find any work. Um, I forget his name, but the
John,
Argus. Yeah, yes, like he
John
hates his
Economos.
job. He
Yeah,
hates his job. She's trying to like create an entire business. Vigilante is also just in a nothing job. So I do think the end
Limbo.
of
Yeah,
I do think the end of the season is going to be her being like, I'm trying to create this thing. Why don't you all just join me? Let's all quit our jobs or just do this and let's start this together as a team. And it ends with them like starting their own like
Argus
honestly,
version.
yeah,
Yeah.
like not like a hero team, but like a
Security, like
yeah,
organization. Yeah.
yeah, like that, and that's kind of where we end the season, and then going into either season 3 or whatever we do with this team next, like that's where they're at going forward. I think would be very fascinating. I think that'd be very wholesome.
I gotta look up people who do videos on comics. So look up the comics. Be like, did any of those characters, besides besides not working Argus, did they work for any other organization they can pull from the
Right.
comics? Be like, all right, we're gonna do that for them, and be like, okay, if Chris can get into the Justice Gang, then him and Vigilante are gonna start their own organization, which I think goes into a big theory I've had for a while now about okay, we have Maxwell Lord, we have Stags Industries, we
Mhm.
have the Wayne Enterprise. Is this going to be a universe that at the beginning there's these different factions of groups of heroes that
Yeah.
have their own style at play, and most of them are backed behind billionaires and stuff like that. But there's a couple who are more independent and more even
Yeah.
either as a group or as an individual, much like Superman, who's not part of the Justice Gang, but they're allies, they're friends.
Right.
Uh, and to have them at one point, someone's gonna have to lay down the law and be like, all right, every group meet up at this place. We got to talk. But listen, y'all,
Right.
we can't get behind. We can't be owned by an organization, but we need a backing to make sure
Mhm.
everybody can do this without having to worry about their own loved ones and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how maybe that's the big fruition, the big push of like, all right, let's do the
Mhm.
jail, just the League International, or do the Justice League initially.
Yeah.
And again, it would be really fucking weird if by the end of this season either Clark or some big hero goes to Chris and be like, all right, we need your help for something. Um, and they start forming a version of the Justice League
Yeah.
or Justice League International
Mhm.
and seeing how that dynamic plays because I could definitely see Chris part of the Creature Commandos or the Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
Justice League, it's something else that I'm like, all right, how would that go out without you waving a gun the whole time?
Yeah. I I
I'm
think
intrigued.
just kind of like play off of my pitch there, like have the end of the season or like the final thing of the season be the Justice Gang again, being like, Chris, we saw that you saved the world again. We would love to have you as part of our team. He's like, nah, I already have my team. I already have my unit. Fuck off. And then maybe you could like go like next season you can have maybe they've been going around and they've been recruiting all the heroes that they rejected or that ran out of the room during their
White
audition. Being
Rabbit's
like,
part of that team. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
yes,
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
that could be
yeah.
really
I
sick
would
if they went that.
love that as the biggest fuck you. And like,
And
hey
there's one
man,
big cameo in there. It's like, I don't know, Blue Beetle or some shit. We're like, oh, what the hell? All right.
you know what? Listen, if at the end of it he does have that team, he does make that formation. I wouldn't be surprised if Superman passes by and be like, hey man, I'm not here to ask you to be part of your team. I'm not asking you to join me. I'm just here to say you're doing good work and keep up the good work and just offering him a handshake. He's like, oh my gosh. And he says, but why did you have to do that on the TV? Why did you call me out on television? They're like, oh,
Come
I
on,
didn't mean
man.
that. Yeah, like, come on, man.
He
He's
was
like,
trying to touch it.
Superman,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, yo, Superman shook my hand. He shook my hand. What the fuck? And he's like, you see that guy? Fuck you. But he's like, God damn it, that fucking guy. Oh, man. Yeah, there is so much. Yeah, I really fucking hope, seeing all this, I really hope that at the end of it, they don't just kill them off all for dramatic purposes. I mean, please don't do that. it's such a rich corner that it is a corner. I don't want all of the DC to feel like this, but it is a corner that is valid to exist and has heart for for this universe thus far. Um, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Um,
We
and
did forget. We did
go ahead,
forget to
go ahead,
we
Talavia.
we did forget to mention there was 2 sex scenes in this episode as well. We did forget to mention that, so we're gonna point out there that just be aware, guys. There are 2 scenes where you just find naked people.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, wait. I don't remember anybody fucking in this one. There was a lot of mention of like blowjobs and stuff in there. Like,
Oh
I
my
was just like,
god,
wait a minute.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So to,
The
to
other
tell
half of
off
the orgy was really funny.
to tell off, Adrian passes by the house. He's like, what the fuck? I didn't get invited to this. Hey man, it was just a random thing. And he's like, I don't think about sex that way. I use sex to hang out with my friends. And the whole thing about the lady, like, ew. She did like look at her. She got out of the restroom that quick after flushing, which means she didn't wash her hands and all that shit. I was just like, okay, that's not bad of a deal or not. But yes, the leftovers of the orgy are still here in this episode, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna stretch, no pun intended, to
yeah,
episode 3 of leftovers of
yeah,
that. Um, but it ends with Chris being drunk and he's making his way to the other side, to the other dimension, and he picks up the phone and he's looking through all the photos of him and Amelia and the other dimension, and it's just like, what is that conversation gonna be like? Like we've seen how much his own dimensions Amelia treats him.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening with the other? Like again, this photo says 1,000 words, and I was like, okay, what do you do now? And what does that mean? So I'm very to see how that other dimension. Again, it's to spend some balanced time, not just for the sake of like cameos and just cool stuff you can do. How's that life different? Because if he thinks of that good of a dimension thus far, what is the cost of that? Why is that one so different from ours? And why is this one so good and so better than his? Like what at what cost did that come with? People are theorizing that that whole world is racist and they're the only ones who
Yeah.
are progressive and whatnot. I'm like, I'd be very to see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys have any thoughts beforehand of like how do you guys feel episode 3 is going to go further with that side of that dimension?
Yeah, I'm super excited for next week because next week we get to dive into this entirely new world. We get to experiment, which is fascinating because we literally just got to the DCU. Like we literally this is our like 3rd project in here, and we're already doing alternate realities and multiverse and stuff. But I'm here for it because it's not like, oh, it's a cameo machine, we're just doing this. And no, this is a vehicle for storytelling, and it's we're given this ability to deep dive on characters' emotions and well-being, and I'm super fascinated to see his dynamic with his family, and like how does he deal with the fact that I didn't really think about it until I saw somebody say it today, where like he has killed every member of his family in some reality. He's killed himself, his father, and his brother.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is it. That is
Fuck.
interesting.
That is fucked, man. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Hear me out. Let's see what we have some comments on here, so let's check them out. Let's see. I enjoyed it. Definitely building characters. By the way, what if Vanelli dies and no one steps in? Ooh, that'd be an interesting
It'd
angle
be
to go about.
interesting.
Die, but I don't know who. Oh man, I really hope they don't do
I
it.
don't
Hear me out. DC version of Checkmate. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. I could see that. Whole world is full of Jakes and what he. God damn it! I should have read that before I put it in. I'm sorry, Jake. Ethan Abraham saying, "Will we see the other?"
The other who?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, Ethan. The other one,
or is the other a character name? Is that like a
or
villain?
is that a reference to New Frontier? No, is it?
No, I don't think so. Oh, he's talking about F2 Vigilante.
Oh, the other Vigilante. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like again, I want to see the Earth 2 Vigilante. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Like, hold on. Let me see if I can pull up a photo. Because our Vigilante, Freddie Stroma's Vigilante, his costume is pretty close to the comics. But there's something way more, how should I put it? Way more, I don't want to compare it, but it's the only thing I can think of. It feels way more Bullseye-ish in terms of costume in the comics more than what we've got in TV. I don't know what you guys think about it, but like it does feel more of that angle and that perspective. Let me see if I can pull it off. What do you guys think? Would you guys want to see that? Which you know, because we said like, how different can it be? Because if he's more silly and like, oh man, this is all great, it's cool. What would that represent for that world? Man, I can't put it here. Let me see. I think it'll be interesting. I really, because again, here's the thing: if they kill off this Adrian that we know since season 1, I don't know unless he starts getting more material and becomes more of a focus towards the latter half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if killing him off out of what we've experienced thus far with him would have any weight to it, because he's still been back. He's still been in the back of the van in terms of the story and the show thus far. 2 episodes in, that I'm like, all I know him right now is that he's very like he misses hanging out with the boys, and he thinks he's really good at owl trivia. That's all I know on him.
I'd kind of be okay with it if it feels earned, right? We have 6 more episodes this season, and I think it might work because he is just kind of underappreciated. He's the character that's like, oh, it's Vigilante, that like little brother, like, oh, whatever. But I think that they really put in work here to really show how much he cares and how much they care for him. And if by the end of the season, maybe it's Chris's fault. Like, it's a story of like, well, if I never did this to begin with, if I would have just appreciated what I had, he wouldn't have had to die for a blank reason, which could be interesting if told right. And like, out of all the characters, he is the one that I'd be like, yeah, he could, like, I won't be devastated like the same I would for the other characters right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, this is how he looks in the comics, and like if he gets closer to that, I'm like, whoo, that would be accurate. And I believe that you can do that in this day and age. Like in this day and age, how much they make costumes look really good, you could pull that off.
Let me show you really quickly. I don't know if you've seen what he looked like in Arrow.
No, show me. Yeah,
he looked pretty. Let me pull it up really, really quickly. Pretty.
I bet he would. I bet he would. So Checkmate's an organization in DC, huh? Let me see.
I've heard of them, but I can't say I'm super familiar.
Okay, that's an angle. Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't the greatest adaptation of said character, but definitely closer to. I like our version of Peacemaker more in terms of just a character, but this is a more comic accurate version of the character.
Yeah.
Even if this wasn't a great character either. That makes sense.
Yeah, if you can go with this style, but just different, just better costuming, if you will, because that literally feels like someone made that at Home Depot or Lowe's. Yeah, I could see that. How about you, Talali? What do you think?
Vigilante, like if they kill off or delete Vigilantes, as I say, I think it'd be weird, but also at the same time, James did say that if they delete him, they delete him. That's it. He's gone, right? They're not gonna bring him back. So, or bring them back, as he has stated in interviews and in podcasts as well, that if he's gone, they've gone. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see which direction that a Vigilante goes in, but I just wonder though, is he gonna see his other self, and is he gonna fight his other self as well?
Because Chris told him, "Yo, don't go meet your other self. It feels really weird doing that, and especially when you end up killing your other self. Like it's not a good feeling. It just feels off. So yeah, I wonder how that would play out. Just like, how different are you, and are you envious the way Chris is envious about what his other self was living, the life that he wished he had?
Mm,
Yeah, I
yeah,
looked it up right now. Checkmate. I'm like, you know what? With that organization, that style, I could see that. I could see that
yeah. I
playing
can see
out.
checkmate. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. I want to start wrapping things up. Do we have any final thoughts on how we felt about episode 2, where we think episode 3 might go? And let me tell you this right now. Again, we're 2 weeks in. What's something that you would really want to see in this season?
Hmm.
That like they haven't done yet, or they haven't alluded to yet, probably. But something that you would want to see for any of the characters that we've hung out with.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've mentioned some of it. Like, I think the vigilante theory would have been the one I would have brought up here. It's like, okay, where are we taking some of these characters? What do their doppelgangers look like? Where are we heading with those? I'm really excited to see more of like hardcore and her development this season, because I think she's going to have to go through a lot and to continuously see that journey. A lot more self-reflection things for all these characters. Just give Vigilante more stuff to do and I'll be happy. Just give him, again, it's not bad yet, but if we start getting into episode 4, 5, 6 and he's still kind of doing just the slapstick stuff without anything to chew on, then I'll be like, all right, we gotta start doing something with him. Like that's gonna be probably an issue for me. But yeah, just now it's just a waiting game, and I'm excited just to have more of it for sure.
Yeah. How about you, Talaria?
Yeah, I'm on the same page as Darren. Like, but I also want to see a little bit more. Like, I want to see um other dynamics of the other characters get involved a little bit more. But I also do want to see more action scenes from Peacemaker and Vigilante, and I do want to see Rick Flag get a bit of action as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, we see him in this big high road head of August, but come on, we need to see action, like how he was in Superman. Like, yeah, he was behind the desk, but he did get involved a little bit. But I would like to see that in this season. So yeah, that's what I want.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Folks, that's going to conclude our show talking spoilers of Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 2. I'm really liking the momentum where we're going. Again, there's room for improvement, as we've stated over this
Yeah,
past hour,
Mm-hmm.
of balancing it out. Again, that's all we see nowadays. Now, just balance it out. You want to do the humor? We like humor,
Yep,
but just like
we do.
don't come at a cost of us getting more moments with these characters that I think I've said it multiple times now, that like the pow and the zaps and all that stuff, that's cool and I'll watch it, but like the reason why I'm paying my attention now is because I just want to see these characters talk and see how they feel. That's where I'm at right now with life. And yucks are fine, but let's get that preserved as much as possible. Muchachos, thank you so much for taking the time out of your Friday night to hang out with me and talk Peacemaker. Please, let's go around let's go around the circle and start promoting our own stuff and tease if you have anything coming up soon. So, Darren, what do you got? Where can people find you?
Yeah, no, you can find me over at Darren Sanctuary. I do a lot of live streams semi-similar to this. In fact, yesterday, me and Ronan literally did an episode of the Pipeline Podcast. A very fun episode. Go check that out. Tomorrow, I'm doing some kind of D23 coverage somewhere. If it's my channel, if it's someone else's channel, we'll be covering it somewhere. I feel like all of us in our inner circle are doing something with it, so go check all that stuff out. Taladia also has an episode on my show as well, so go check that episode out if you want more of that dynamic. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, my friend. Claudia?
Firstly, thanks for having me, and obviously, I want to say firstly, rate this episode 8 out of 10. But if you want to if you want to check me out, it's at Taladia Plays on YouTube. What I got coming up on my channel is I'll be covering Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight, and all the details you need to know about that game, because that's a big game coming up for 2026. And also, I'll be making a video about Injustice 3, because according to new rumors, that's in development. So I'll be making a video on that. So expect that coming soon as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, folks, go check out Taladia's coverage on video games going out and potentially coming out. Darren, I really, I don't know how it's gonna go down. Again, there's not even been that much big of a push from D23 of like it's happening, and it's just like all we want to know is that
Yeah.
is there any big announcements or trailers dropping, and
Ye-
one of us is gonna do a stream. We're even
Yeah.
us just trying to figure that out. Like
We're
gonna
like
stream it?
feeling the air of like
Yeah.
who's gonna host it. Yeah.
and how long is it gonna go for? Is
Mhm.
another big quick thing about it. So be on the lookout for all three of our channels tomorrow morning at the
Yeah.
earliest possible time to see if anything's gonna go down via D23.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks, tune in next week, next Friday, probably either at an earlier time than this to talk more Peacemaker, see where we're at with the season. And on Wednesday, I'll have an Alien Earth stream. Might be smaller, might be a little bit earlier in time because I might be doing something cool that Wednesday night. And then you can catch most of us on every Tuesday on Party Nation, almost every Wednesday Council Creators, and then we're also on Eric's Nerdcast podcast.
Yep.
And but yeah, until then, everybody, take care, have a good night, and give peace a chance. Take care, everybody.